Listen, not with your ears, but with your soul, because the one who only listens with their tongue will never hear the wisdom screaming in silence. There is an old Native American truth that whispers through the trees, rides the wind, and waits in the stillness. Listen, or your tongue will keep you deaf. And that truth? It isn't ancient, it's eternal. In a world that praises noise, that rewards shouting over understanding, that equates loudness with leadership and speed with success, we've forgotten how to hear what matters. We hear everything, but we listen to nothing. We scroll, we shout, we speak to be heard, not to understand. And slowly, we go deaf to life's guidance, deaf to the voice within, deaf to the universe trying to correct our path. But the ones who rise, the ones who lead with wisdom, who love with clarity, who live with fire, they are not just speakers, they are listeners. Edison listened when the world told him 10,000 failures were foolishness. Ford listened when people mocked the idea of a horseless carriage. Lincoln listened to the pain of a divided nation, not the applause of popularity. Disney listened to a dream that nobody else could see. They listened to silence, to struggle, to the voice beneath the noise. Because here's the first truth. You can't build a mountain of purpose with a mind full of static. And you weren't born for noise, you were born for meaning. But meaning doesn't scream, it whispers. And if your tongue is always moving, your ears will always be closed. You want vision? Close your mouth. You want transformation? Still your surface. You want to be heard? First, listen. Not to what the crowd is saying, but to what your soul is craving. Because deep inside, beneath the obligations and expectations, beneath the roles you play and the mask you wear, there is a drum beating. Not a drum of fear, not a drum of imitation, but a drum of truth. The Cherokee say, "Don't let yesterday use up too much of today." Yet most people live as prisoners to the echoes of their past. And when your past is louder than your future, you stay stuck. But the elders, the warriors, they didn't sit and complain about the weather. They studied the wind. They didn't curse the dark. They spoke to the fire. They didn't run their mouths. They sharpened their minds. They knew that words can build, but only when they rise from silence. Because silence isn't empty. It's full. It's where visions are born. It's where purpose finds its pulse. It's where your mind begins to return to you. And let me ask you something. When's the last time you sat with yourself? Not to escape, but to hear. To hear the roots of your pain. To hear the voice behind your fear. To hear the rhythm of who you were before the world told you who to be. You want clarity? Stop talking about what's wrong. Start listening for what's real. There's an ancient Lakota teaching. The longest journey you will make in your life is from your head to your heart. And most never make it, because the head is full of noise. But the heart speaks in symbols, in feelings, in ancient codes of truth. And if you never quiet the tongue, you'll never make the translation. This is why belief must be earned, not inherited. Your beliefs shape your reality. But if they're built on noise, they become prisons. You believe you're not enough? You're probably listening to someone who was never qualified to teach you. You believe success is for them, not you. You've been conditioned by people who lost their fire. But the moment you listen deeply, not to society, but to spirit, everything changes. The river doesn't rush because someone shouts at it. It moves because it knows where it's going. And so should you. But knowing requires listening. Listening requires stillness. Stillness requires discipline. And discipline? That's not punishment. It's a prayer of respect for the life you've been given. You see, Every sunrise isn't just light, it's instruction. Every storm isn't chaos, it's recalibration. But if you're too busy talking about your limits, you'll miss the lesson in the lightning. There's an Apache proverb that says, "Wisdom sits in places." But today, most people just pass through. We walk through forests, but never touch the spirit in the trees. We sit in rooms with elders, but drown them with our opinions. We chase results, but ignore the rhythm of right timing. That's why most people feel lost, not because they lack direction, but because they've forgotten how to ask the earth for answers, not with words, with presence. Your future doesn't need louder noise, it needs deeper roots. So root yourself in what matters. Root yourself in what's real. Root yourself in silence and rise from it like a warrior hearing the call of destiny. You want clarity? Don't chase it. Clear the fog. You want purpose? Don't demand it. Earn it in silence. Because the strongest arrows fly only after the bow is pulled back in complete stillness. And your stillness? It's not weakness. It's preparation. Preparation for a storm. Preparation for impact. Preparation to lead not just with volume, but with vision. But vision doesn't come from what the world says. It comes from what you hear when the world is quiet. So hush your doubt. Silence your need to prove. Mute the noise that tells you more words mean more worth. Because real leaders, they listen more than they speak. Real warriors, they watch before they move. And real transformation, it happens in the silence between what was and what can be. So now the question becomes, can you hold the silence long enough to hear your future speak? Because the truth is, most people quit too soon, not because they're weak, but because they can't bear to sit in the space between the old and the new. They rush back to noise. They crave distraction. They chase shortcuts that circle them right back to nowhere. But listen carefully. The eagle does not flap for attention. It soars in silence, and the sky makes room. Your discipline must be like that. Silent, precise, relentless. You don't need to announce your hunger. You don't need to explain your grind. You show it in what you withhold. You prove it in what you endure. Because real power doesn't panic. It doesn't rush to be seen. It watches the wind and moves when the moment is right. This is where most people fall. They confuse activity with progress. They confuse noise with movement. But the buffalo doesn't flee the storm. It runs through it because it knows what waits on the other side. Peace. And the same goes for you. You'll be misunderstood. You'll be doubted. People will question your silence, your absence, your patience. Let them. You're not here to explain. You're here to become. You're not here to speak louder. You're here to move wiser. So protect your energy like a sacred fire. Feed it with purpose. Guard it with discipline. Don't let anyone throw their fears into your flame. Because if you're not careful, you'll let someone's small mind talk you out of your great destiny. You'll let someone's broken vision distort your clear calling. But the tree doesn't envy the grass. The river doesn't apologize for its path. And neither should you. There is a reason you feel what you feel. There is a reason you hear whispers when others only hear silence. Don't silence that voice for comfort. Don't trade your thunder for applause. Because the most dangerous thing you can do is live your life unlistened to. Your intuition is not random. It's ancestral. It's encoded in your blood. It's the same signal that guided warriors through wilderness and women through storms. It's the knowing that doesn't explain, it directs. But if you ignore it long enough, it will stop calling, and you'll wonder why nothing feels right, why success feels empty, why the climb feels endless. It's not because you're broken, it's because you've forgotten how to hear yourself. So hear this now. The wind that rattles your bones isn't here to break you. It's here to wake you. The silence that surrounds you isn't punishment. It's invitation. It's the universe asking, "Can you hear me now?" Because only in that silence, only when your tongue rests, will your soul rise. So sit, be still, and listen. Not with your ears, but with your life. And now, it's your turn to choose, not just what you'll say, but what you'll listen to. Will you keep running your mouth and missing your moment? Or will you quiet the noise and meet your calling? Because the drumbeat of destiny isn't loud. It's subtle, it's sacred, and it only answers those who honor the silence. So when the world tempts you to speak without wisdom, wait. When doubt demands your voice, breathe. When fear begs you to perform, stand still. Because the next version of you, the one who leads with vision, speaks with purpose, moves with clarity. They're not louder, they're listening. And when you listen long enough, you don't just hear the truth, you become it. So remember this forever. Listen, or your tongue will keep you deaf.